All right, everybody, we're going to go over the autonomic nervous system. All right, so this is a really helpful schematic that I learned from my professor, Abdullah, that really helped me understand, kind of how the autonomic nervous system works and how like the preganglionic, postganglionic fibers, just everything, all the receptors, all the fibers, all the systems, everything. So I'm going to attach some helpful images to help explain this image. So I'm going to attach those right here. And make sure you have a good conceptual understanding of those images, because this image is going to help break down those images that you just saw. We're going to start out with the somatic nervous system, right? We know that the somatic nervous system is voluntary and it works with skeletal muscles. The somatic nervous system, it just has one neuron, right? It has one neuron. And you have the preganglionic, it has a preganglionic neuron, which is a cholinergic fiber. So the axon is cholinergic because it's releasing ACH, okay? So cholinergic fibers will always release ACH, and they're found here, they're found on preganglionic fibers of the parasympathetic nervous system and preganglionic fibers of the sympathetic nervous system. And the one exception is that they're found on both places here with sweat glands, and we'll get into that in a second. But the somatic nervous system secretes ACH onto an ACH receptor. ACH receptors are nicotinic receptors. All right, so ACH is released onto a nicotinic receptor. Then in the parasympathetic nervous system, we have a long preganglionic fiber. Okay, this preganglionic fiber is cholinergic, meaning that it is going to release ACH onto a ACH receptor, which is a nicotinic receptor. Okay, these nicotinic receptors, you can find them on all preganglionic and all postganglionic fibers. Here, you see them on here, the somatic nervous system as well. And you also see them on the adrenal medulla, and you find them in the exception with the sweat glands. Next, we have the postganglionic fiber. And the postganglionic fiber is cholinergic, and it's going to release ACH onto an ACH receptor, which is a muscarinic receptor on the effectors. Moving on to the sympathetic nervous system, we have the preganglionic fiber, and this fiber is a cholinergic fiber. This is a short preganglionic fiber, okay? It's cholinergic, and it's going to release ACH onto a nicotinic receptor on the postganglionic neuron. The sympathetic nervous system has a long postganglionic neuron, and this is an adrenergic fiber, okay? Because it's going to release norepinephrine or epinephrine as a neurotransmitter. And it releases these things onto an adrenergic receptor, which is either a beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, alpha 1, or alpha 2. You don't need to know specifically what beta 1, 2, 3, alpha 1, alpha 2 are. You just need to know that it's releasing it onto one of these receptors, and those receptors are called adrenergic receptors. Moving on, this is how norepinephrine and epinephrine are released into the bloodstream hormonally, okay? So in this system, with the sympathetic nervous system, you have a cholinergic fiber releasing ACH onto a nicotinic receptor on the adrenal medulla. And then the adrenal medulla will then release norepinephrine or epinephrine into the bloodstream. Now, the one exception to the rule is with eccrine sweat glands, okay? The way that eccrine sweat glands work is it's part of sympathetic stimulation, so you can't parasympathetically stimulate sweat glands. They gotta be sympathetically stimulated with a short preganglionic fiber, which is a cholinergic fiber releasing ACH, onto the postganglionic fiber, onto a nicotinic receptor, so the ACH synapses with the nicotinic receptor, or the ACH binds to a nicotinic receptor. And then you have your long postganglionic cholinergic fiber releasing ACH onto a muscarinic receptor on a sweat gland. So that's how the sweat gland works. That's the only exception to the rule, because this is essentially copying this. It's just changing adrenergic to cholinergic. But that's the only time that you'll see this system going up. And I should have mentioned this before, but this is the spinal cord, and these are ganglion, right? Because in the autonomic nervous system with the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, the pathway is different. You don't just have one neuron, you have two neurons. You have a preganglionic and a postganglionic neuron. The parasympathetic nervous system will originate in the cranium and the spinal cord, and I'll link a picture so you can see this better. You have long preganglionic fibers, short postganglionic fibers, like we just saw here. And the sympathetic nervous system, it originates in the thoracic and the lumbar spinal cord. Here's the attached picture. And they have short postganglionic fibers and long preganglionic fibers, like you see with this image right here.